Hello, I'm here again. We are going to talk about Module 4 Work Habits and Conduct. Okay, so sa Module 4, we have another proverb. Ang magandang buhay ay makakamtan sa pamamagitan ng husay sa trabaho at sakripisyo. The good life is to be earned with hard work and sacrifice. So, ang objectives sa kanina module kay, by the end of the module, the participants will be able to list and identify ways to find work opportunities, identify the main elements of a basic biodata and application letter needed to apply for work, write a biodata and an application letter, identify appropriate workplace behavior and attitudes, describe ways to manage time, describe ways to balance personal and work life. Okay, so most of it kay about work and conduct. So unsay inyuhang dapat ipakita or inyuhang batasan when you are working. Okay, let's go first diri sa key topics and learning points. Identifying employment information and resources for finding employment. So, ang papangitag trabaho, main elements of a biodata and application letter. Unsay dapat isuwat sa biodata and application letter, processes and tips during a job interview. Unsay buhaton ninyo kung naamoy job interview. So, naa sa diri resources to use in finding a job. Unsa may inyuhang unsay ahaman mo mangita og job. For example, word of mouth. Kadungog ka sa imuhang silingan, kadungog ka sa imong mga parente, naay trabaho dito, blah blah blah. And then naasay newspaper. 'Di ba? Makita man ka sa newspaper og trabaho, radio and television announcements, naman na sa TV, sa radyo, job notices, nasa gawas, nasa dalan, makita ninyo, potential workplaces, kanang mga workplace na doon sa inyuha, internet, nasa na sa internet, pwede na mo apply sa internet, government agencies and offices, nasa sa munisipyo, pwede sa kamangutan na dito if naay area na nangita og mga empleyado, non-government organizations, cooperations, recruitment agencies, and networking. So, daghan kag areas na kanang resources kung asa ka mangita og work. CV writing tips. Unsa man na CV? Una inyuhang biodata, curriculum vitae. Includes relevant information only. Mga importante ra, dili ipakita dito na kanang mga unrelated information. Keep it simple, clear, and neat. Dapat limpyo, dili ka nang gumot na biodata. Limit to 1 to 2 pages. So, duha ra ka pages. Kasagayan ng taas kayo, kay wala na mo basa ana. Be accurate, no spelling or grammatical errors. Be consistent, punctuation, highlighting, verb tense, spacing. Use action words to describe your previous experience provided, managed, participated, operated. Use bullets to describe duties, responsibilities, and previous work. So, tanan imuhang na-experience before na work, imo sa nailista kay para makaibaw sila na naka-experience na bakaan na or wala. Okay? Especially kanang mga related sa imuhang job na applyan. Mo na pinaka-importante nimong i-sulat. Then, spell out acronyms the first time it appears. Put the acronym in parentheses and use the acronym after that. Kung kibali, nag-work mo before, for example, ako nag-work ko before CPILS. Dili na CPILS ra ako ibutang. Ako gyud ibutang ang meaning. So, Center for Premier International School. Ana. Dili ra ang acronym. So, ibutang sa first and then after, pwede na nimo siya ibalik na acronym na lang. If using a computer, font size should be between 10 and 12. Use 2.5 margins. Application letter. Lahi na ang biodata, lahi sad ang application letter ha. Okay, sa application letter, keep it simple, clear, and neat. Use proper spelling and grammar. Use proper business letter format. use basic structure described above. So kana siyang application letter na siya nganong mo apply ka ana na kumpanya. So usually depende sa inyong gi-applyan, usahay mangayo sila application letter, usahay wala. So ang uban biodata ra gyud ang ilahang gipa ngayo. Pero masindot siya nang ready ka, mag-prepare ka sa duha. Okay, next one. Arita sa activity 1, introductory activity. Okay. Make a list of concepts and ideas that you learned from the previous module. Okay, sa katong mga naka-answer na daan sa module 3, so you are going to answer this part. Pero naa may uban na nalaktaw kay tungod wala na tayo lain copy sa uban module, so skip na lang ni na part. Okay? But if naka-answer mo ato na part or sa module 3, then you answer this part. Module 4, you will learn about finding and keeping a job. Think about the proverb. So, nasuwat na dira ang proverb ha. Inyo isuwat ang meaning. What do you think the proverb says about finding and keeping a job? Okay, keeping a job kanang imuhang dili ka kanang magbalhin-balhin og job ba. Kibali, nang-apply ka ana. Keeping a job is imuha na siyang padayunon og trabaho. Okay? Next one, think of a time in your life when you worked hard for something. Write down the story here. Okay, so imuhang isuwat ang imuhang natrabahuan before, then imo isuwat sud sa box. Pero sa papel naman ninyo ansiran, so inyo ra isuwat sa papel. So, next one. Okay, before we start, let us do some reflections so you can see what you already know or do not know about the topic. So relax, this is not a test, but it is important to be honest about yourself. So unsa inyuhang ikasulti? Lisod ba tan-aw ninyo ang topic or naka-experience na mo before, kinakatrabaho na mo before, ha? Okay, so kani kibaw naman mo answer, you put the numbers here or you check asay na appropriate para sa inyo ha. Okay, next. What steps did you take to find a job? What went well? What didn't? So, unsay inyuhang mga gibuhat? Giunsa niyo pagpaagi og pangita og trabaho? Unsay na nindot ang resulta? Unsay bati ang resulta? Okay, next. When you have a job, what do you think are the most important behaviors and attitudes to remember at the workplace? Kung nakay trabaho, unsa may dapat nimong batasan? Unsay dapat nimong buhaton sa imuhang trabahoan? Hamo na siya. Next, now we will focus more on the information and skills that you need to find for a job. In the space below, make a list of sources of information to help you find work. For example, the newspaper. Write many sources of information that you can think of. Okay. So anyway, suwat lang mo mga 5. Anak. Kay dili man ni siya, di man ta makapaspas ani kay tungod wala man ta sa classroom. So kamura unsa man asa mo makitag information, asa mo makitag job. Naa naman to sa list ganina akong gisulti. So kamo para ninyo unsa may other ways na para makakita ka og trabaho. Okay, next one. So sources of information to find work. So naa ta diray list. Okay, ako naman yung gisulti ganina. Kani sila. So, basa-basahan na ninyo, ha? Okay, basahan na ninyo. Kay those are very good information, especially if mangita mo og job. Okay, importante ba yun natay job, di ba? Okay, next. Ato tas activity 2. Preparing a biodata and application letter. Okay, employers look for people who are committed, positive, hardworking, respectful, and trustworthy. Kabaw nagjud mo ana, ganahan gyud sila anang dili magtamad-tamad, dayon masaligan. O respectful, dili kanang magtubag-tubag sa boss ha. Then magtamad-tamad, okay? And then, finding a job usually requires biodata and application letter. Parehas kong giang ingon ganina. So, ang biodata mo na siya is a brief history of your education, work experience, and activities, skills, accomplishments, and any other information relevant to getting a job. So, imong skills, unsa man, maayo ka mag-English, maayo ka mo gamit og computer, maayo ka mo build og something. For example, carpentry, ana. Kabaw ka mo drive. Those are also written sa bio data or katong imuhang nakagraduate ba kag elementary, high school, kung nakagraduate ka puhon college, imo na isuwat. Then imuhang mga job experiences, naka-work ba ka part-time sa gaysano or naka work ba ka somewhere, ha? Sa application letter, it is a letter to an employer expressing your interest in a particular job or area of work and highlights why you are qualified for the work. So, imuhang i-explain dito. Mo na siya ang imuhang isulti sa imuhang employer na wala sa biodata. So, imo isuwat dito na you have good interpersonal skills sa imong mga kauban, dayon hardworking ka, dali ra ka matudluan, ana, ha? Imo ipanghambog imuhang kaugalingon. Ha, kay mo apply ba ka? Okay? Next, have you ever written a biodata or an application letter? Share your experiences in the space below. So, inyo isuwat diri yung unsa ninyo. Okay? Darang mga questions. How did you find the experience? Unsa man, lisod? Sayon ang pagsuwat? Ha? Explain dira. Next, what type of information do you find in the biodata? Okay, so what diha? Ako nang gisulti ang uban. What type of information do you find in the application letter? Okay. What are the difference between biodata and application letter? Naara gyud na didto sa page 12. Ang sira na ninyo. Okay, naapag yun diri sample biodata. So mo na siya imong makit-an sud sa biodata. Ang sunod sad mo ni ang application letter. Tanaw-tanawa ninyo kay basig puhon-puhon maghimo na mo ani kung mangita mo og work, ha? Okay, think about it. This section encourages you to share your learning with family and friends. Start a discussion with them face to face or via text. Okay. So anyway, palihas sa gibuhat before, di na mo mag-sharing, but you will answer this part. So read additional information about the biodata and application letter as well as the biodata writing tips on the next page. Okay, ask them about what they would look for a potential employee's biodata and application letter. Okay, you try to write it here. A biodata represents the following information: contact information, skill summary, work experiences, education, and reference. Okay. So, kana siya inyuhan ang basahonon, ha. Basahan na ninyo, basahan na ninyo sa inyuhang module. Kaya importante na siya na inyuhang ma-learn. Okay. So, we have here a biodata format. Okay, you will now prepare your own biodata below. So, kani, let's apply. You will now prepare your own biodata. So, ang siri ni, inyuhan ning own biodata. Sa inyuhang module, kung dili siya klaro, o diri sa YouTube, maklaro-klaro siya, personal data, unsa position desired, unsa man. Himu-himu ilang if mag-apply ka, for example, ganahan ka mo-apply as manager, o isuwat niya manager. Imuhang name, address, ha, suwatan na ninyo, ha. Inyuhan ang i-rewrite sa inyuhang papel. Okay, so we have here application letter format. Okay, inyo na siyang basahon, unsaon siya. So, ang first paragraph, greetings and why you are writing. So, inyo suwatan. Greetings. I am applying for a job as a janitor or as a manager or as a, middle, what you have to offer. Unsa may imong maka-offer sa ilaha, o kusgan ka or kuan ka maayo ka mo trabaho, ana. Inyo na i-explain diha. Concluding how you will follow up. Siya. In conclusion, ay dili ka mo yung in conclusion ha, kay dili na siya essay. Mukuan ka, musuwat ka na. I'm looking forward na makadungog sa inyong tawag or inyong response, inyong feedback. Ha? Okay. So this time, apply na sad. Pariha ganina, naghimo mog biodata karon. Maghimo mog inyong own application letter. Okay? Atong tanawon kung kabaw ba mga apply. Okay? Next. Activity 3, the job interview. Okay. So nata diri now that you know the main elements of biodata and application letter, it is time to discuss and practice being interviewed. Naaman dyan na interview kung mga apply ka. Ha? So you will check or X here kung unsay mga dapat buhaton. For example, if you do not like a question at the interview, you should act as if you did not hear the question. Tama ba na siya or dili? Ha, so inyong checkan diri unsay tama or dili sa interview. Okay, put X after a bad interview behavior. Put a check sa nindot na batasan sa interview. Okay, reflect on the previous job interviews. What was it like? Kung interview mo before, unsa man inyong na-experience? What went well and what did not? If you do not have a previous experience, you may leave the session blank. So, katong mga bata pa jud, mga elementary, diri na part, wala man jud mo na interview, so ay nalang ni ansiri. Pero katong mga high school na naka-experience na og interview, then you answer this part, okay? Next one. Okay, processes and tips during a job interview. So, basahon ninyo unsay mga dapat buhaton kung you have a job interview. Okay? So, nana siya diha in general, there are 3 main parts of an interview. Opening, greeting. Of course, mo good morning ka sa mo interview niyo. Good morning. Ana. I'm here para sa interview sa manager. Di ba? Manager ka dito. Number 2, body interviewer asks questions. So, usually mo nilang mga questions. Tell me about yourself. So, sa may inyong ikasultay sa inyong kaugalingon. I am a very kind person. I'm a very hardworking person. Okay? So, inyuhan ang ansira. Sa kanina part, inyo raning pasahon ha. Dili ni ansiran kay these are just sample interview questions when you have an interview. So, closing, the interviewer will thank you, provides information for the next step. Okay, so what to na ninyo? Manawag rami nimo or sige, kuan pasar na ka, so sunod mo uni imong buhaton. Okay? So, usually, test ang una sa uban company na amoy test, after sa test na amoy interview. Pero ang upan, muhatag ra ka og application, letter, or inyuhang CV, then wala na test. Interview na dito. Ha? So, tips during a job interview, before the interview, during the interview, after the interview. So, basahan na ninyo unsay dapat buhaton before mo mag-interview, before ka musud. Dapat prepared ka, dili ka late. Ana, kabaw ka unsay background sa imuhang trabahoan. During interview, unsay buhaton. Dili ka magdali-dali og tabi. Dili mo kaunon imuhang gitabi. Dapat imuha jung isulti og tarong kay para makadungog ang interviewer og tarong, then magkasinabot jud mo. After the interview, you say thank you and then wait for their phone call. Ha? Sabton jud nig maayo kay importante ni siya na module kay puhon-puhon magamit jud ni ninyo. Okay, so we have here, let's exercise. Okay? So, inyuhang isuwat, since dili man ta maka-interview og live, so inyuhan na lang isuwat diri ang inyuhang answer. Okay? Diri sad mao gihapon isuwat ninyo sa ubos ang inyuhang answer kung tinuod siya na interview, and then inyong isuwat diri ang reflect how you did with the exercise. Tan-aw ninyo lisod ba mo answer og interview questions or dili, ha? And then think about it, same gihapon inyong isuwat inyuhang reflection diri sa ubos, ha? And then next one, let's apply. Same, you read this part and then you write your reflection here. Okay? So excellence is not a gift but a skill that takes practice. So mag-practice yun. Kung mag-interview, pwede mag-practice sa balay ra with your friends or with your family members para di ka kulbaan kung naa na yung kay interview. Especially kung mo apply sa ka sa college o mo ganahan ka mo college, naaman silang interview ang college. Okay, aritas activity 4, information interview. Okay, we all have heard that personal connections will help you find a job, but what if you don't think you know the right people? Take Mel. She is 20 years old. She is in a culinary program. She knows she needs to build a professional network, but doesn't know how. She doesn't think her family will be particularly helpful. Her father owns a small shop at her mother is a housekeeper. None of their family members or friends own a restaurant. How can Mel start and build her own professional relationship? So tan-aw ninyo kung saan man niya para na siya mga connection para sa iyahang job. Ha? Inyo haran opinion diha. Okay, then read this part. Next one. Kaninyo ni answeran. These questions aim to get you started thinking about informational interviews. You will learn a lot more about this type of interview later in the activity. So you're right. It's the answer. Who is the interviewer in an informational interview? Okay, yun na answeran diha. Ha. Okay, then ang answers are actually here sa module. So basaha dyan ninyo ang module, then you can answer that, ha? Next one, what are informational interviews? So inyuhan ang basahon diri. Naara diha ang answer. Okay? What is an informational interview? A meeting in which a job seeker asks for advice rather than employment. Differs from a job interview because it is the job seeker who mostly asks the questions. Okay? So, meaning, ikay mangutana sa employer about sa job. Unsa ba ni akong buhaton kung mo apply ko ani na job? Unsay apply ko pila ka oras, pila ka inana ba? Muna informational interview. So, basahan na ninyo diha. And then, you can answer this part. Okay? Kanisad, ansiran sa ninyo na part. But this one, I need you answer kay these are just sample informational interview questions. So what kind of work do you do? How did you get into this line of work? What do you like the most about it? What is difficult about your work? So those are just example sentences. Okay? And then reflection, ansiran sa na inyo na part. This one, 4.9, basahon ra sad ni siya na part before interview, during interview, pareha ganina, and after interview. Okay. So, informational interview form, inani na siya. So, this one, inyuharang interviewhon ang nasa inyong balay nagatrabaho. Ha? Okay, kana siya. Kung namoy mga kaila na nagtrabaho, inyo silang interviewon. Kana ra sa inyuhang balay. Ha? Next one, reflect. Let's reflect. So, sa inyuhang mga nahibawan, inyuhan ang ansiran diha. Ha? What are some highlights that you learned during the interview? Kana tanan ha? A, B, C. D, E. Napaday sumpay. Okay. So, anyway, dili na ansiran ang writing space. At ito sa session 2, appropriate workplace behaviors and attitudes. So, unsay dapat ninyong mga batasan sa workplace kung nagtrabaho mo. So, workplace behaviors and attitude. Time management. So dapat na mo time management, dili mo mag-late-late sa inyong job. Okay? Personal time management skills include setting goals and planning, prioritizing what you need to do in a day, week, month, etc., making decisions about important choices, especially if ikaw ang manager or supervisor sa inyong work. Okay. Arita sa activity 5. Okay, try to answer this part. Share your reflections and experiences about the last lesson and what did you enjoy learning. So, katong ato ang past, katong last na ko giingon. Haon sa inyong nasabtan dito na part. Okay. Next one, you answer this part sad. What was the work setting? Office, shop, construction site. Kung you have done work before. Ha? Kung mawala pa ka trabaho, ay na lang ni answerin na part. Okay. You answer 1 to 5. Next, discuss the answers that you wrote down with a family member and friend. Ask them to share their work experiences with you too. Okay. Sa inyong nasabtan diri. And then, activity 6, workplace behaviors and attitudes. So, you have here isuwat ninyo na yung mga scenario. Okay, so workplace scenario A, basa ha, and then you answer the questions below. Okay, scenario B sad, same. Okay. Okay, so answeran ninyo na questions. Okay, next. Arita next. Uy, nga nung dili siya mo next. Wait. Okay, think about it. So, ansiran sa ninyo, diri na part. Okay. Let's continue. Next, discuss why it is important to listen to feedback, both positive and constructive, from employers. Okay, so what? Ansiran sa ninyo diri na part. So, appropriate workplace behaviors and attitudes. So, basahan na ninyo ha. That's very important. Next one. Okay, kanisad. Inyo ha sad ning basahon. So, work habits inventory. So, read the descriptions given for each of the qualities listed below. Place a check mark on the box to the statement which is most. Okay, let's continue. So, sa work habits inventory, directions. Read the descriptions given for each of the qualities listed below. Place a check mark on the box next to the statement which most accurately describes you. So, diri, check kanin ninyo kung unsay nakadescribe sa inyo kani courtesy, cooperation, initiative. Sunod, diri gihapon attitude toward constructive criticism, supervision, accuracy of work, work accomplished, time usage, and adaptability. And 10, personal appearance, attendance, punctuality. Then there is said summarize habits that you already have and the habits that you need to work more on in the table. So there is said ansiran sa ninyo ha. Next, adita sa time management. So, time management is the ability to use your time wisely and appropriately. It involves accomplishing tasks within a specific time frame. It applies to both personal and work life and helps to balance the two. Okay, so inyong is what diri? Time management. Kabaw naman mo na mag-manage sa time. So, diri, task, doing housework, not done because. Mo ni inyong mga buhaton no, na wa ninyo buhat kay ngano man. Diri ang mga rason is what. Ha? And then, arita sa time management. O ako na ito giingon. Inyuhang time, inyong gamitin ang inyong oras wisely and appropriately. So, basahan ninyo ha, ka-importante kay ni siya. Labi na namoy trabaho. Dayon, reflect and write a general plan to improve your time management at home and at work. Okay, so diri sad weekly goal. So inyo isuwat diri. Mura siya inyuhang plano ba in 1 week unsay buhaton. Kung inyo bagyod siya mabuhat. Okay? So anyway, kabaw na mo ni diri. butangan og numbers. And don't forget to answer ang 1 to 10. Module 4, work habits, mo gihapon. Kung dili ka sabot sa in English, ansiran ang Tagalog. Okay? So, pili ra ka. Dili ang duha ang ansiran ha. Pili ra sa usa. Okay? So, muna siya end sa Module 4. Okay? So, dili pa stress as I've said before. And see you next time. Bye-bye.